Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here. I heard there are 30 Finnish students studying at this university. Are there any Finns present? Or nobody? Well, fine, but they are somewhere here at the university. A couple of words of myself first. I have been the ambassador of Finland to Latvia for 3 years now. I have worked at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for 37 years and worked in 7 different countries, and the last was Turkey, Ankara. The challenge with the ambassador is always that we know a lot about many things, but there is very seldom possibility to concentrate on specific topics as such. Now, today's title gave me the possibility to do that, and it was quite a challenge. I do know about the topic, but I mean to go deeper on that, had to make some research in that respect. Mostly what the ambassadors are dealing is with politics, international politics, economics, internal politics of the country, and so on. So, and covering also other sectors, but mostly those two. When Mr. Eddie Sowers, the head of Public Relations Service of the university, contacted me to discuss about this lecture series, he gave me a very wide choice of topics. He said I could talk about science, education, economics, politics, but I thought that it might be of interest to you to discuss, to introduce you something that has been very much on the agenda during the past years, and that is the EU's Baltic Sea strategy, and related to that, Nordic-Baltic cooperation. The European Union is a union of 27 countries and about 450 million people. For many purposes, it's as such too big, and we need smaller entities. The idea of Europe of the regions has been developed during the past years. The regional dimension can often address better the cultural and national divisions of Europe that we have had in our history enough. And regions can, in the best cases, form a natural group of countries that have already cooperated in the history and now can form a new group addressing the future cooperations. And regions at their best can also create a dynamism in many ways. The world is changing rapidly, and we have more strong and growing interdependency, globalization, and the growth of non-governmental groups. This has had an impact on the role of the nation state, of course, and we have to all the time redefine what is a nation state. We have very strongly embraced the notion of nation state during this century. It has not been the form of governance in the history of peoples. It's quite a recent phenomenon. The big empires that used to govern the world consisted of nations, but they were not nation states. Inside of the European Union, there are several regional groups, but now for the Baltic Sea region, this is the first one that the real strategy has been formulated. Also, there are regional groups, European Union and countries outside of the European Union and the Mediterranean countries, so-called Barcelona process, Baltic Sea group, Black Sea, and the neighborhood policy, which means that the European Union cooperating with Ukraine, Belarus, and Moldova, for example. But just a moment. So, mitäs tämän sai takaisin? Tosta noin. First, the map of the Baltic Sea, and it's a very well-known map for all of us. But this is the group of countries that is forming now this strategy. And these are countries bordering the Baltic Sea. We are 9 countries. 8 of them are EU members and 1 is not, which is Russia. We can call this inland sea of the European Union, and that's Baltic Sea. 6 of these 9 countries are NATO members, 2 are non-aligned, Finland and Sweden, and then Russia. 3 countries come from the Nordic group, Nordic Council, 3 Baltic countries, Germany and Poland. So this is the group of countries that is forming the Baltic Sea strategy. The Baltic Sea EU countries, we have a population of 85 million people. This is 17% of the EU population. Here we don't count Germany in full, only the northern part of Germany, and therefore this figure, if you count all of Germany, would be much higher. The gross domestic product is 16% of the European Union total. And the region covers 2.4 million square kilometers, and this is almost 1/3 of the European Union. So this is a big region and important region as such. The development of the cooperation of the Baltic Sea region, one could say that we have had close cooperation for hundreds of years, but the cooperation with Baltic countries during the Cold War was at a very low level. And we restarted our cooperation in the early 90s when the political situation in Europe was changing. And then the EU expansion in 1995 and 2004 changed the situation further and created the possibilities for more cooperation than ever before. And at the moment, we have intensive cooperation network between the Baltic countries. Then, why do we need Baltic Sea strategy? We need to strengthen the regional cooperation of the Baltic Sea strategy within the European Union. It gives a common framework for cooperation aspect in environment mainly, transport and energy. Those are the key sectors that we have focused in all the different organizations during the past years. It increases cooperation in research and development, innovations and networking. And it removes barriers of common market. The Baltic Sea is the most polluted sea in the world, so we have work to do in that respect. The transport connections are quite weak in our region. We are talking about the Rail Baltica at the moment, for example, and we will see what will happen to that. So that would be the connection from Warsaw to Helsinki, building a new railway line. They call it in the Commission papers Helsinki Adriatic Railways. So we need to strengthen the transport connections in this part of the world, especially in rail, but also in road. And there are still, despite of the fact that we are members of the European Union, there are obstacles for free trade. We need to remove that. And energy is a key sector in this respect. The Baltic countries are an island that has not been integrated into the European Union yet, and there are different projects on the way to correct this, to improve this matter, to widen the sources of energy. The Baltic Sea strategy, as such, as I said, this is the first EU's first regional strategy at the macro level. It's comprehensive, it's coordinated, coherent, it's horizontal, it goes across the sectors, it secures more efficient use of funds. And this was the initiative of the European Parliament, and the Council approved it in 2009. When they were planning for this strategy, there were 3 no's that everybody agrees to. No new institutions, no additional funds, no new legislation. And the strategy, it will be revised and evaluated next year. Part of the strategy is the northern dimension. This was established or started by Finland 15 years ago, and now it has become very useful in this respect. They call it, it's an external arm of the Baltic Sea strategy, and the partners in this northern dimension are European Union, Russia, Norway and Iceland. Observers are Ukraine and Belarus. Because when we talk about environment, for example, the pollution, part of the pollution is coming from Ukraine and Belarus via the rivers, via, for example, Latvia. Therefore, we need their cooperation in order to reduce the pollution levels in the Baltic Sea. The purpose nowadays, the main purpose is to engage Russia in the implementation of the strategy, because we can't be successful in these sectors unless Russia is included in these programs and projects. The focus of this external arm is transport and logistics and environment. Those are the 2 main sectors. Also cooperation in the health sector is often mentioned. In this respect, Finland initiated a Baltic Sea Action Summit in 2010. All the heads of the Baltic Sea countries convened in Helsinki last year to sign these documents. And this is one of the results of the Northern Dimension. I would say that in the Gulf of Finland, which is part of the Baltic Sea, in front of Helsinki, between Helsinki, Estonia and St. Petersburg, the main achievement has been cleaning the sewage waters of St. Petersburg. This was a huge task. It was started 10 years ago, lobbying for it, and it was the worst polluter of the Baltic Sea, and during these 10 years it has been achieved. Now 95% of the sewage water of St. Petersburg is being cleaned up. It was a big program. There was the Nordic Investment Bank, the European Investment Bank, European Bank for Reconstruction and Development was involved, EU, Finland, all of us were involved in this project. And then Russia, of course, when they woke up to the seriousness of the matter, they also invested a lot in the cleaning equipment. Of course, the pollution doesn't come from Russia only. We all the countries of the Baltic Sea, we are contributing to the increasing pollution of the Baltic Sea, and we all have homework to do in that respect. Here are two slides now just to list the amount of organizations we have working around in the Baltic Sea region. The list is very long, and just to give you some idea, there are a lot of names of organizations and things that doesn't open up, but basically there are intergovernmental organizations, like the CBSS and HELCOM and so on. There are interparliamentary organizations, interregional organizations, international financial institutions, and other actors, and that list is long, research institutes and foundations. All these have been working for the past 10-20 years to increase cooperation around the Baltic Sea. But it has been very scattered and not coordinated, and it's not comprehensive, and there was no common focus on this. Everybody was doing their best, but it was very, they were working apart from each other. I get the end. Ja sitten.
Ja vielä kerran. Nyt sen pitäisi tulla pikkuhiljaa näin.
Ai se menee näin.
Joo, tosi tyhmä.
There are 4 pillars of the strategy. They want to have an environmentally sustainable place. The word here is sustainable. We will burden the environment anyway, but we need to have it at the sustainable levels, and we have much to do in that respect. A prosperous place. We want to have this region prospering. We need to have it accessible. It's easy to access our region, and we need to have it as an attractive place to visit and to stay and to live. And we need to have it a safe and secure place. Then this is quite terrible as a slide. There's too much information here. But just to give you an idea, this is the action plan related to the Baltic Sea strategy. The strategy is a strategy, and then there has been the action plan. So they collected all the programs and projects that have been ongoing. They tried to refocus the activities, and this is what they ended up having. So these are the 18 priority areas, and there are in these priority areas 80 so-called flagship projects. So in each of these priority areas, there has been they have chosen a lead country. And that country is responsible for coordinating all the activities in that particular sector. Latvia is in the energy markets, and Finland, together with Denmark, we are responsible for maritime safety and security and cross-border crime. So this gives some kind of idea what kind of cooperation is being implemented in connection of this strategy. Then this is also too long a list, but also yet again to give you the idea what kind of projects are in the strategy. So removing the phosphates in detergents, which is the washing powders, this is a very important point to reduce the amount of phosphate in the Baltic Sea. For example, Latvia decided to change the law 6 months ago in order to implement this particular recommendation. Create marine protected areas. There must be better control of hazardous substances. Eliminate the discharge of sewage from ships. This is very important. Even now, the ships can in the middle of the Baltic Sea throw their wastewater to the sea untreated as such. And this will not be possible in the future, but it is now possible. Even those beautiful huge cruising ships, quite a lot of them are putting their sewage into the water, although in Helsinki, in Stockholm, we have equipment to take that sewage inland and treat it on land. So this, we insist more and more that this needs to be done, and that has been accepted little by little by the shipping companies. Then create a network of sustainable cities and villages. This is very important. There is a lot of cooperation between the cities of the Baltic Sea region. And remove remaining single market barriers. And then we need a fund for innovation and research. Encourage sustainable aquaculture. We are overfishing the Baltic Sea. We need to regulate the fishing much better. We need to improve transport infrastructures, and we need to develop strategies for sustainable tourism. Not just tourism, but yet again, sustainable. And integrate the maritime surveillance systems, which is very important. The Baltic Sea is the most busy, it's the busiest sea in the world for ships, for trafficking. And then we need better cooperation in case of marine pollution, and we need to have one single national border surveillance system. So there are lots of different kind of elements in these strategies, but the work is going on in so different sectors, but aiming at the same purpose, which is improving the situation in around the Baltic Sea. Just as a case study here, one little detail, the development of petroleum oil transportations in the Gulf of Finland by year 2015. This is very interesting graphics, and here you can clearly see how rapidly this transport of oil will increase in the Baltic Sea. Of course, this will create a lot of danger elements in the Baltic Sea. There is the possibility for an accident, for an oil spill. There is the possibility for accidents between the ships and so on. So we need to do something about it, that we regulate the transport routes of these ships, and that we get more information how the ships are being operated, what are these ships, and how are they being managed in general. So within next 5 to 7 years, the transport of oil will be doubling. Most of it comes, of course, from Russia, from the new ports that they've been planning there for oil exports. And this is not just the oil, all kind of transport in the Baltic Sea, by the sea, has increased. It has doubled within 6-7 years, and it will go on doing so in the coming next 10 years. This is what is anticipated by the experts. This is an interesting graphics. This is the amount of ships that is passing, I think this is in daily, in front of Bornholm area. The left graphs is before it was coordinated. All the ships could go anywhere using any kind of route they were choosing, and then it was established a routing system that helped the ships to find the route so that there would be less possibility for collision. Of course, like in front of Helsinki, there is a lot of traffic between Helsinki and Tallinn, for example, so going this way. And then a lot of traffic going from Russia towards Denmark on this way, and that has caused and will cause a lot of danger elements in the future. We need absolutely to have a good control system in our sea. Another one, another detail, which is the energy sector. This reveals the situation as it is at the moment. Just talking about the Baltic countries now. There is only one connection out of Baltic countries, and that is from Estonia to Finland. There is a link called Estlink, and for electricity. And the other one is being built at the moment, which is Estlink 2. The other one will be from Lithuania to Sweden. It will be ready in 2 years' time, and then there will be 2 different electricity lines to connect the Baltics to the Nordic countries, to the European Union. Of course, there have been a lot of discussion now in the Baltic countries regarding the nuclear power plant of Lithuania, the LNG, which is the liquefied gas terminal, that there should be one for the Baltics, and a lot of plans how to diversify the energy supply so that the dependence of the Baltic countries of one supplier only would be reduced. So this is also on the agenda of the European Union, to integrate the energy networks of the Baltics to the European Union. About the practical experience, it's been ongoing now for 2 years, and these are like tentative results of the program. It's been able to create new contacts and networks. There is better cooperation. There are new projects and programs created, and they have been able to find new channels of financing. Also, there is more visibility to the strategy and programs and better focus. But recommendations how to improve the strategy. There must be better linking to the Europe 2020 strategy. this is the the strategy that Europe has decided for its future. This was done a year ago, and Mr. Barroso said that we want a smart, sustainable and inclusive economy. So it's a very wide strategy. There are so many strategies, but anyway, this is very important. Everybody, all of our countries, the whole European Union has approved of this one, that we need to have high level of employment, productivity and social cohesion is very important for the European Union in the future. And yet again, this strategy of 2020 has 5 objectives: employment, innovation is always there, education always there, and social inclusion, and then energy and climate policy. So we need to really focus anew in the European Union to keep up with the rest of the world, as Barroso was saying, that otherwise we are losing the competition with the other parts of the world. And now with the crisis in Europe, the crisis of euro and all that, these type of programs, if they are implemented with vigor, are more important than ever before. The other one is that there must be a defining of clear and explicit goal. This is very vague. It's like somebody was criticizing it. It's like a Christmas tree. You just put on the branches of the tree everything that is hanging around, all the nice and good things. But in order to have good strategies, you need to have explicit goals. Then we need to ensure the financing. The strategy is already getting a lot of financing, no new financing as said earlier, but from the existing structural funds and cohesion funds. And then we need to establish strong national committees to implement the strategy. And then increasing the information and media coverage. Nobody knows about that much. The audience is not knowledgeable about the thing that there is a Baltic Sea strategy at all. So this needs to have a better strategy of information, better message, maybe a face, maybe better branding in one word, and then we could use it more as a tool. Another thing that is separate, kind of separate from this Baltic Sea strategy is the Nordic-Baltic cooperation. The Nordic countries, we are 5, and the Baltic countries is 3. This deepened cooperation between Nordic and Baltic countries is in the increase all the time. The basis for this is Birkav's Gade report. Birkavs is your former prime minister. The wise men report, so to say. They made 38 recommendations how to improve the cooperation. It's based on the shared values and common interests, and therefore this cooperation has a good possibility to succeed. What we do already now, we have regular consultations, like if there is a meeting of the prime ministers in Brussels, European Union meetings, Nordic and Baltic countries meet 1 hour before of the meeting and coordinate their positions before the council meeting. Same happens with the Ministers of Foreign Affairs, Ministers of Agriculture, and so on. So it really works in that way, that we have coordinated positions. We are not always agreeing in Brussels about the policies that should be adopted or the decisions we disagree on and off. But those occasions that we can agree, we are looking for common ground, and they are more and more. The basis for this cooperation is, as I said, the cooperation between the Nordic countries. The Council, the Nordic Council, have been working now for 50 years. It's a very long tradition, and we have 5 countries there: Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Iceland. That's the Nordic Council, Nordic community, and before even we joined European Union, we had open borders. We had the same labor market and same social security, and this has been working very well. So what we hope now is that the Council and the separate Nordic countries and the Baltic countries will have better and deeper dialogue on the focus sectors that we have chosen, and this is being done. It's happening. This is not just some invention of diplomats and politicians. This comes to the daily life, daily practical life as well, and it will there will be more results to be seen in the future. So basically, these are the points that I wanted to bring forward to you. If you have any questions on this or anything else related to Finland or Nordic countries or this Baltic Sea strategy, you're welcome to ask the questions. Anything goes, so no need to be shy.
Hello, thank you for your lecture. Last week we had a chance also to hear a lecture from ambassador of Denmark, if I remember correctly, and also there was mentioned our big influential friend called Russia. And the main reason is because of the energetics politics. And had there ever been a thought for making, for example, this Nordic-Baltic cooperation in a way that it makes itself as a, how to say, consumer, yeah, like a consumer cooperation, because Russia is as dependent on us as we are on its energy provision. Thank you very much. I know Russia is a hard topic.
Yes, Russia is a very interesting topic and very relevant topic. As you said, Russia needs us as the buyers of the energy it is producing, and we need Russia for that energy. I was just watching television yesterday when they open the Nord Stream pipeline for gas. So Angela Merkel and Medvedev were there, and they really turned the wheel, and now the gas is flowing from Russia under the sea to Germany. And it happened quite quickly. In a couple of years they were able to build this line. But meaning that, of course, the strategy of European Union is that we will create more recyclable energy forms. And this is what is being done at the moment. We should use more wind, bioenergy from the wood, all kind of energy energies from using the waste and so on, but we are not able to fulfill the needs for energy without using in the coming even the decades, without using the energy from Russia. And this is a reality, and this is just something that we need to have a common understanding, a good dialogue about how it's being done, on what terms we are able to get these contracts. But it's more and more is on private basis. There are private buyers buying the energy, and also, well, not on the Russian side, but on the European side. And European Union energy policy is also to become more self-sufficient. Looking at it from Ankara, from Turkey, when talking about the pipelines going across Turkey, getting the energy from Caucasus or from Central Asia, or even Iran or Iraq, all because those are the regions where you have most of the oil and gas. All those pipelines need to go via Turkey to Europe. It became very complicated because Russia became very interested in this plan, because the plan of the European Union was to diversify the sources and the pipelines of energy in order to guarantee more independence or more competition, so that there wouldn't be just one supplier who can tell you about the rates of energy and so on. But it's proceeding quite slowly, those pipelines across Turkey. There are pipelines already now, but the big ones are still being considered if they are profitable or not. Russia is making other plans across the Black Sea in order to avoid these arrangements to be made. But it's just very interesting and worth studying the energy politics. It's very political, and it's also very important for businesses, for the common citizens, what is the price level of the energy we are using. Yeah.
Thank you for your presentation. But I have a question not regarding the Baltic Sea cooperation in Nordic states, but about Finland. Basically, why Finland is not yet or still a member of such a big organization for collective security as NATO? What are the intentions to stay alone and motivation not to be inside?
Yeah. Right. This is a question that we debate in Finland a lot, and the common decision at the moment is that Finland will not be at the moment a member of NATO, but we will keep that option open. It has to do with the history of Finland, with the mindset of the people, the hard experiences of the past of our people, and therefore we are very cautious on this issue. Finland is very close to NATO. We have close cooperation as a partner country of NATO, and the coordination and cooperation with NATO is very close. And of course, the non-aligned countries, Sweden, Austria, and Finland, have made the same decision not to join NATO at the moment, but keeping the option open. But we will see how the future will be in that respect. We have in the government now a party that supports Finland joining the NATO, and that's the biggest party in the government. The Prime Minister comes from that party, so this discussion will be ongoing. But at the moment there is consensus, in quite a strong consensus at the moment, that this is not an option for now. Yeah.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to see you here and to listen to this presentation. My name is Latvijā, and I am a third-year student of international relations. And my question is in some way similar to the one that Yevgeny's just asked about the security cooperation of the Nordic countries and the Baltic countries. I know that there exists a Nordic Defense Cooperation, which is a cooperation between the Nordic countries. I wanted to ask your opinion about how do you see this cooperation, and how do you see the possible developments of this Nordic cooperation and the Baltic defense cooperation? My second question would be regarding the High North, the geopolitical changes there. How do you see them? How would they impact the Nordic countries, and would it have any possible impact also on the Baltic countries? Thank you.
Very good questions. Your Minister Pabriks has said that he hopes to have full integration of the Nordic-Baltic defense systems and defense structures, but that will take time before that will happen. But the close cooperation is already going on. And in this Pirkavskade report, defense was, I think it covered 7 different topics there. And generally when you talk about Nordic-Baltic countries, defense sector is being considered one of the most successful sectors as such. In the Nordic, among the Nordic countries, there was the Stoltenberg's report regarding more closer cooperation between the Nordic countries, and then there the security policy was very high on the agenda, and he even suggested that the Nordic countries would take for themselves the defense of the whole Nordic area. So this is a little bit challenging idea, because Iceland is there. You have 2 NATO countries there, which is Iceland and Norway. 2 non-aligned countries, well, 3. You have Iceland, Norway, and Denmark being NATO countries, and 2 non-aligned countries, which is Sweden and Finland. Then to create within those realistic framework to have this kind of cooperation is quite challenging. But it was a very good report, because he shook it up, the whole concept of the cooperation, because we always talk about it, and then what is the content of it? What's the focus? How can we redo it when we are addressing the modern world, rapidly changing world? What should we be doing? But security policy as such is very interesting. Of course, this sea of ours is the most safe sea in the world at the moment. It sounds strange, but this is the case. It's the sea of peace in a way, because there are no hostilities going on. Of course, you have the NATO forces here, you have the Russian fleet, but it's a peaceful sea in that way. But this is a focus, this is a topic that we are discussing all the time, and it is the cooperation is being deepened all the time. Yeah.
My name is Andres, and I'm a first-year student of international relations, and I would have two questions for you. First of all, you talked about that we are living in a very rapidly changing world, which is changing very fast, and you also mentioned the euro crisis. I'd like to ask you a question: is there any treaties between Baltic states and Finland?
Is there any?
Are there any treaties in place that would act as a backup for economical integration, not via European Union, but particularly with Finland and the Baltic states? And also, how would this integration be affected with the Eurosceptical, when you recently had an election in Finland where the True Finns won, and they are more of a Eurosceptical party, and how would that affect this integration in our region? Thank you.
Finland is the only Nordic country to be a member of Euro, and we have been very happy with it so far. The decision to join the Euro was made because that time Prime Minister Mr. Lipponen said that we need to be in all those tables that the decisions are being made. And Euro was a very important table in that sense. The benefits of Euro, when we joined it, when was it, 6 years ago? No more. Anyway, they were very beneficial for Finland because the interest rate that had been 9–10% went down to 1% or even 0.5%. The price of the food went down. There were a lot of good things that happened in Finland at that time. But now the situation has changed, and because of the lack of discipline of the Euro countries on their expenditures, on their budgets, we are in this situation. So the simple fact is, most of the Euro countries spent more money what they earned. Therefore, we are here now. And the Commission was not able to control this trend. Even the big ones that were doing very well, even France and Germany, they exceeded the 3% limit in this respect. So the crisis is deep, it will be deep, and in Finland we had elections in the spring, and as you said, the group, the party called True Finns, made big gains because they were opposing supporting the Euro from the Finnish taxpayers' money. And also they are Europe skeptical. They don't want to resign from European Union, but they are very actively speaking against the present situation that taxpayers' money would be used for saving the southern countries of the Euro area. It's a very complicated question. It's not only Finland, but in most of the northern members of the Eurozone, there are similar discussions. Netherlands, Germany, Finland, there are discussions like that, and we will see what will happen now with Italy. Italy is in serious danger, and as the Minister of Finance of Germany was saying, Italy is too big to be saved by Europe as such. So it's very critical situation. It will go on, and it has an impact on the internal politics and policies of the Euro countries. Okay. Yeah.
Good question. My name is Pavel, and I heard you said that you worked in Turkey.
Mm.
So, as we all know, Turkey wants to join the European Union. So, what's Finland's position about that?
Well, Finland belongs to the group of Friends of Turkey, and like Latvia, we support the Turkey's membership with the condition that Turkey fulfills the Copenhagen criteria, which it doesn't yet. There is still a long way to go, and Turkey has made big progress in this respect. Turkey has worked very hard. Finland had the EU presidency when I was the ambassador of Finland in Ankara, and I was in the middle of that because the biggest obstacle in a way is the situation of Cyprus, because Turkey signed the Ankara Protocol saying that they will open the ports and airports for the ships of Cyprus before the membership is implemented, and of course this hasn't happened. It's a very complicated question, but this was the big challenge during our presidency when we tried to discuss with the parties about how to proceed with that. But really Turkey has been very successful in implementing the acquis. There have been real changes in Turkey regarding most of the sectors that needed a change. But of course the accession discussions are now stalled. They have been slowed down, and not too much is happening there. But let's see what will happen. Cyprus will have the presidency of the European Union in 1 year's time, so what will happen then? But it's only 6 months, of course, but still but Turkey is